Hello, and welcome to another instalment in our Buying for Beginners series with me, Scott The Duke McHugh. And this time we're focusing on another of the Demons of Chaos sub-factions, specifically the followers of the pleasure god Slaanesh. So like all of our other Buying for Beginner videos, we'll be focusing on 3 competitive army lists and explaining the best value for money options for the units in each of those lists. Now, like I said in the Nurgle Demons of Chaos Buying for Beginners, if you've watched that, if not, then stop this one here and head back and watch that one. But like I said in that, much of the Demons of Chaos range is still produced by Games Workshop, as it's either available in Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40,000, or both. Unlike some other ranges as well, which still have, some of their range or even most of their range still produced by Games Workshop, the special characters for Demons are still available as well, which is going to make this Buying for Beginners even simpler. Now, on to the main event. I'm going to go through some competitive lists and take you through exactly what you need to buy for each unit or character and give you the best cost I could find for each of them. The first list is going to be 1500 points, the second will be 2000, and the final one will be a Triple Crown Wargaming event standard 2500 point list. In each one, I'll try to keep as many of the units and characters the same, so you can slowly build up your Slaaneshi Demons of Chaos force and not end up with units sitting in a case gathering dust by the end of it. Although I think all of us are guilty of having those units that we used to use and no longer do. For the 1500 point list then I've got with me today, we are jumping straight into the hero slot with 2 Heralds of Slaanesh. So the first is a level 1 wizard on the Lore of Shadow, has the lesser Locus of Grace and a greater gift. The second is also a level 1 wizard on the Lore of Shadow, also has a greater gift, and this one is the BSB. Into core, and I've got a unit of 26 Daemonettes with full command with the Lichebone Pennant, and a unit of 15 Daemonettes, again with full command. No magic banner this time though. Into special, and I've got a unit of 6 Fiends of Slaanesh. Next to them, I've got 2 units of 5 Seekers of Slaanesh with no upgrades. And that rounds out the first list. So, starting with the heroes in this list then. And we have a BSB and a non-BSB Herald of Slaanesh. Now, Games Workshop only make a single Herald of Slaanesh model, and they sell her, him, it, for £17. And that's a direct only price, so you're unlikely to find it cheaper elsewhere. Now, this works perfectly well on its own for the non-BSB Herald, but to use it for your BSB as well, you'd need to do a bit of converting. Helpfully, the banner in both the Daemonettes and the Seekers of Slaanesh kits comes in the right hand, so it would be relatively a simple conversion to put a banner from either of those kits onto the Herald model, as the sort of right arm of the Herald is the one that's better placed to hold a banner. And if you did that, you'd have spent £34 in total, and that is definitely what I would do. On to core then, and we've got a couple of units of Daemonettes. Now, these come in boxes of 10 for £24 from Games Workshop, with all the command options you're used to for Warhammer Fantasy. These aren't direct only, which is a nice little treat these days, and so you are likely to find them a bit cheaper elsewhere. I found them for £20.41 from Element Games, so a nice almost 15% off. For this list, you'll need 5 boxes, as we've got 41 Daemonettes, so you will have 9 left over from that final box. But I'm sure we will get around to using those extra 9 in the following lists. Now, if you got all 5 boxes from Element Games, that will come to £102.05. Now then, I'm going to move into Special. And we've got 3 different units, but we're going to start off with the unit of 6 Fiends of Slaanesh. Like pretty much all of the Demons range, as I said at the start, Games Workshops do still produce the Fiends models, and they sell them for £32.50 for a box of 3. You'll obviously need 2 boxes for this list, and once again, these are direct only, so these will add another £65 to the running total. The other special units are the Seekers of Slaanesh, and I'm at risk of sounding like a broken record here, but Games Workshop still produce the Seeker models, and they are direct only. These come in a box of 5 for £18, and again, you get all the regular command options that you're all used to. For the 2 units of 5, that would come to £36. And that wraps up the first list. Not many units to get through. And we're up to a total of £237.05 if you go with the Daemonettes from Element Games. Now that does include 9 spare Daemonettes with command options and command options on the Seekers, so you can vary the list slightly without having to spend any more. Next, I'm going to move on to the 2000 point list. So this contains the same 2 Heralds of Slaanesh as the previous list, with all the same upgrades and equipment. Alongside them in the hero slot, though, we also have the Mask of Slaanesh. Into core, and once again we have 2 units of Daemonettes with full command, and one has the Lichebone Pennant. This time, though, the unit with the Lichebone Pennant is 25 Daemonettes strong, and the other is 21. Into special, and all of the units from the previous list remain unchanged. There's a unit of 6 Fiends of Slaanesh and 2 units of 5 Seekers of Slaanesh. With them, though, is a unit of 6 Furies with the Daemons of Slaanesh upgrade, obviously. And finally, in rare, we have an Exalted Seeker Chariot of Slaanesh. So, what do you need to add to this list over the first? Well, you get all the Daemonettes that you need from the 5 boxes you bought for the first list. And the only other things we need to add are the Mask, the 6 Furies, and that Exalted Chariot. So Games Workshop actually relatively recently, depending on when you watch this video, released a lovely new Mask of Slaanesh model for £21. And thanks to it being a new model, it isn't direct only. And I found it from Element Games for £17.86. Onto the Chaos Furies then, and you'll need to head to the Warcry section of the Games Workshop web store to hunt these beasts down. They come in a Chaotic Beasts box, which includes 6 Furies and 6 Raptorix. I think that's how it's pronounced. Which, you know, coincidentally actually make great Tzeentchian Furies if you ever do a Tzeentch Demons army too. But for the Slaanesh army, I'd probably leave them out. This box is £28 direct from GW, and while it doesn't appear on the web store that they are direct only, I wasn't able to find them discounted anywhere. So that might be something that you find with the Warcry boxes, I'm not too sure, but I couldn't find this particular box anywhere else discounted. The final addition for this 2,000 point list then is that Exalted Seeker Chariot. Now, the only way you can seemingly get this kit at the moment is through the Start Collecting box, which seems a little strange. I was sure you could get it on its own before, but I, hunted it down on the GW web store and could not find it on its own. That's not necessarily the end of the world. Generally the Start Collecting boxes are really good deals, so I'm not going to complain too much. Now that Start Collecting box comes with that Exalted Seeker Chariot, 10 Daemonettes, and 5 Seekers. So all things that you need, and all of that for £57.50, which means you're paying just over £15 for the big chariot. Not that bad, I would suggest. Even better when you find out that you can get it for as little as £48.88 from Element Games. Now, even if you're going to build up your force slowly, I would highly recommend getting this Start Collecting box early on and using the Daemonettes and Seekers from the box in your 1500 point list, just in order to save yourself a bit of money in the long run. And that's all you'll need to up the 1500 point list to a 2000 point list. With those additions, and assuming you're buying all of this at once, or you've bought the Start Collecting box instead of a box of Daemonettes and a box of Seekers, and that you pick that up and the Mask from Element Games, the running total for the army is currently sitting at £289.79. With that, you'll have 4 spare Daemonettes and the 6 Raptorix from that Chaotic Beasts box. Now, as I said, I don't see them having much use in a full Slaanesh army, but they could definitely find their way into a Tzeentch force as Furies. For the final list of today's video then, we are finally finding our way into the Lord slot with a Keeper of Secrets, who is a level 4 wizard on the lore of Slaanesh with 2 greater gifts. Then we move back to more familiar territory with 2 Heralds of Slaanesh, both level 1 wizards on the lore of Shadow. One has the lesser Locus of Grace and the other is the BSB. This time they both have a single lesser gift each, rather than a greater gift. Alongside them we have the Mask of Slaanesh again. Into core, and we have a unit of 26 Daemonettes with full command and the Lichebone Pennant, and a unit of 24 Daemonettes with full command and the Banner of Eternal Flame. That's mostly just to make up the core points, if I'm honest, but it's not a bad banner for them. Onto special then, and we have the same units as the previous list, except now everything is a 5-man unit. So that's 5 Furies with the Demons of Slaanesh upgrade, 5 Fiends of Slaanesh, and 2 units of 5 Seekers of Slaanesh. And in rare, we have the same Exalted Chariot of Slaanesh. So, as you may have noticed, there is but a single model to add to the 2000 point list to get you to this list, and that is the Keeper of Secrets himself. We're going to go with itself. There are a handful more Daemonettes in this list, but you'll already have enough spare from the 5 lots of 10 you've already bought for the previous lists, so no need to spend any more. So on to that Keeper of Secrets then. And Games Workshop make a beautiful Keeper of Secrets model, which, like the mask, is relatively recent, for £90. And, like the mask, being a relatively recent release, means it isn't direct only, so you can pick one up from somewhere like Element Games for £76.50. And that's it. That's all you'd need to make the 2,000 point list I went through earlier into this 2,500 point list. So, what would all that come to? Well, in total, you're looking at £366.29 for 2,500 points of Slaaneshi Demons. Now, that does feel like quite a lot compared to some of our other Bind for Beginner videos, but it isn't helped by the fact that a lot of the units are older sculpts, and so they're direct only, which is a big shame. You do have some options in there for different list builds, although you are quite limited without making any additional purchases. You've got one spare Fury and one spare Fiend from those kits, as well as those 6 Raptorics. Although, like I said before, I think you'd be better off keeping them aside for a Zinc project, or maybe selling them on and buying some more Slaaneshi models with the money you get from them. A small note of caution is bases. You will need to source these separately, as all of the models are supplied with the incorrect base sizes or shapes for Warhammer Fantasy. Now, I've found the best Games Workshop equivalent bases are from Tiny Worlds Wargaming. They all come with a slot on the underside of the base to make magnetising them really simple, and they also sell magnets and movement trays, so you can get everything you need in one place. At £3.99 for 20mm square bases, or £14.99 for 100 20mm square bases, both either with or without slots, they're really good value for money. And to base all the models you'd need for these 3 armies would cost you just £31.91, and that's 3 sets of 20 25mm square bases for £3.99 each, 1 set of 10 25 by 50mm bases for the Seekers, 2 sets of 40mm square bases for the Fiends, 1 set of 50mm square bases for the Keeper of Secrets, and 2 sets of 2 50 by 100mm bases, and you need to use 3 of these to create a 100 by 150mm base for that Exalted Seeker Chariot. If you are set on sticking to a single god build for your demons, then you don't really have too many other options available to you. You could go with the Slaaneshi Demon Prince, although I think the keeper we already have in this list is a lot better, if I'm honest. You could also add in a Slaaneshi Soul Grinder, which could work well with the mask dances, which drop your opponent's stats, and it gives you a nice tough unit to use as a bit of a sort of anchor for your battle line. Alternatively, you could lean heavily into the chariots and go for the Hellflayer and Seeker chariots too, and run them alongside that Exalted Seeker chariot we've got in these lists. I think any of those could work, but really it's up to sort of your playstyle and what you want to do with the army. I hope today's snippet has helped you understand what I believe are the best choices for a competitive Slaaneshi Demons army, and hopefully shown you little ways to save a bit of money too along the way. If you've got any suggestions you think we missed, or if you want to know what we would use for certain units that are no longer available from Games Workshop, head over to any of our socials at Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, or email us directly, all of the links for which are below, and we'll do our best to help you out. Join us next time for another instalment in our Bind for Beginner series, where we'll look at one of the other armies of the Warhammer world, or head back to the Night of the Realm mustering ground, where you can find links to all of our other exclusive content.
Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a Knight of the Realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
You alright?
Do it for war!